Bischoff, him and his mom used to bring him in. He was about 11 years old at that time. And Garrett Bischoff's father, as you may know, is Eric Bischoff. So I did not know anything about wrestling. You know, I had spent many years training karate. I was about 24, 25, something like that. So I didn't know anything about who was who in pro wrestling. So when they said Eric Bischoff, I knew nothing about his name. I just cared about teaching his son karate. But this guy came down to my karate school one day, and he had his gi wrapped up on his hand. The gi is the karate uniform. And he asked me if he could spar with the class. And I was like, which happened every now and then. You get a father, a mother that took karate back in the day, and they'll come down, want to work out with the class, not spar with the class. But this guy came down, man, and the only thing I remember, he had this dark black hair and the whitest teeth I've ever seen. And I was like, what the hell? Who is this? Then Garrett told me, he said, that's my father. Then I said, oh, yeah? He said, well, he won't talk to you about working out today, sparring. So I said, listen, you can spar if you like, but you got to sign these papers right here. Just keep giving us clear, making everybody understand that anything happened to you, we're not held accountable for it. So the way we started this karate class out, I had 8 teachers, all black belt, from the age of 24 all the way up to 28, my age. I was the oldest one in there. I was the chief instructor. So I would line up all 5 of my instructors on one side, then I line up the other rest of the class on the other side, and you line up in front of whoever. Most people start on the end. I always finish on the far end because that means they get their best fight by competing with me. I can work and see what they've done. So anyway, everybody started going around, boom. Next thing you know, I hear all this noise, like people really getting after each other. So I kind of looked down, and it was this guy. He had a blue, our traditional color for karate was white. This guy had on a damn blue karate uniform with dark hair and these white ass teeth. And I was like, man, well, go ahead. But then I hear something going on the end, and I kind of looked down there, and he looked like he was doing pretty good against one of my better karate instructors. So then the next fight came, boom, the same thing happened. He did it again. He actually beat my second best instructor. And then before I know it, I started looking out the corner of my eyes while working with some of the kids. I was like, this guy can fight. He could fight. And didn't surprise me. I just didn't know him. I didn't know he was a football. I didn't know he was a pro wrestler. And what he did in that pro wrestling world. But I said, right now, he holding his own against some very good young fighters. So he came in front of me. I bowed, shook his hand. Then I said, go. That's how I started the fight. And I remember, I said, okay, let me show him who I am. And I was doing all these high kicks, flying there. As he would get close to hitting me, I'd flip out the way. I'd jump up and do a kick, just barely touching his head. And I was trying to show him because the rest of the guy, I was like, if he could do that to them, I got to show him that we are a good school. So I had to kind of lay it out there and put it to him. So I was doing all these fancy moves on it, trying to show him just how good I was. And then I heard this little voice. This little voice said, come on, Dad. And that was the voice that used to say, come on, Mr. Miller. They usually cheer for me. So when I heard that voice, I looked in the direction of that voice, and it was Garrett cheering on his father. And I remember thinking like, man, I don't want to do that, hurt this man in front of his son. So I had nothing to lose. So I started playing around with him. I let him hit me a little bit. He touched me. I faked at him, but he knew what I was doing. So after it was over, we went to the locker room, and this guy came back, and I asked how he liked the class. He said, man, you're great, man. He said, boy, I can use you on TV.